Guys, it's Sunshine. So I just got done watching Violet's last video about blood magic, and she hit on so many fantastic points in there. If you haven't watched that video, watch the video. Uh, there's a lot of points in there, actually, too, that I'm going to be doing another video. And I've been talking to Seven about this. I'm reading this book, Alchemy and the Kabbalah and the Tarot. What is it? Alchemy and Kabbalah in the Tarot. The Keys for Radical Spiritual Transformation. This is actually, no surprise, the synchronicities. Uh, it talks about sex magic, it talks about dark magic and light magic, it talks about judgment. And so I'm going to go back through and mark some of these pages. uh, these things that we are becoming aware of are not new concepts, but what I love about it is that we are tapping into our deeper understanding of these concepts by being inspired by each other in the things that we're talking about, that we're keying into, connecting those dots, but really everything boils down to being placed on the Kabbalah Tree of Life and alchemy for transmuting energies. So, but I think for affirmation and for, just deeper gnosis, uh, connecting those dots and what I'm reading here in this book will be great for affirmation. The reason I wanted to do a video right now, though, is because uh, Violet keyed in on the Sophia, and how when she taps into that energy, what it is that she feels and perceives. And I love what she was saying. For myself, the Sophia, my first introduction to her, I so could relate to, and I left a comment on Violet's video that her energy is like real world energy. Well, no surprise, she is this construct. We are an expression of her, and manifest, and we get to experience her to the fullest, which is amazing. But the things that I could relate to in tapping into her energy when I first, you know, was introduced to her story, that made it real world for me, was like I could relate to her desire to want to co-create with her masculine counterpart. I could relate to her transgression. I could relate to her sacrifice. I could relate to her correction. And I think this is like her own process. And I love what Violet had to say, that she's still going through that process as we are going through that process. So, one of the other things that that I've just really keyed in on in this whole thing is, okay, so there's some music that's out right now that is real popular that I don't think is a coincidence. And it is to increase our awareness of the divine feminine energy. And one of the songs is Thank You Next. And it is such a great song that shows us how we can um, transmute our energy through changing our perspective, that every experience can be looked at in a way of through gratitude, that we learned and that we grew from those experiences, regardless of how difficult or traumatic or whatever they were. Another one is God is a Woman. I mean, there's no such thing as coincidence that this song is was written and is being put out in the sound waves, um, to boost our awareness of the Sophia energy. And another one is Girls Like You. If you listen to the words of that song, it's absolutely promoting the divine feminine energy. Um, and anyway, it's just something that I clued in on, and I feel like they were written right on time. And when I think about, like, why is there an age range, okay, of people who are becoming more aware, um, before other age groups? And those age groups, if you think about the music that was played in the 60s and 70s, and you could be a younger person whose parents possibly listened to those songs, and so it was very much on your radar. But I think that those songs in that psychedelic time, and, opening the third eye through psychedelics, and the music that was written at that time really had an impact in our own subconscious awareness in some huge way. So, you know, the subconscious is a fascinating place. And the more we can become aware consciously, I think we become more aware subconsciously as well. And those things start coming to the surface. I think that's why it's also really important for us to share our stories, because there may be something really latent subconscious within ourselves that we haven't become aware of yet. But by hearing somebody else's story, of their experience, that might set off a light bulb and give them the opportunity then to bring that whatever was in their subconscious, which might be limiting their ability for higher consciousness, to resonate more in their higher self energy vibration. Um, so this is all working out exactly what it's supposed to the way it's supposed to. And this really is the beauty of the design. We look at, how come all this negative stuff is happening in the world? Well, it is all about experience and learning and growing, not so much a test, but like a training ground to get to our higher selves. And that really is the beauty of the design. The beauty of the design being that all those negative things that happen, we have, through our own free will, can choose to transmute all of that energy and recreate it in this kind of recreating the reality that we're in, whether it's individually or, together, in creating something new. So anyway, I'm going to be getting into this book more, just to affirm a lot of what it is that we are starting to become aware of, that it actually has really been around for a very, very long time. It's just been hidden gnosis. And I think it's fascinating. There's so many people who have been studying gnosis for a very long time, who have, even a year and a half ago, like, people like Seven and Doc, and plenty of others who have introduced us to these teachings, these readings, these books, um, this knowledge that, their introduction has lit a light bulb within all of us. And it's like planting that mustard seed. So much love and gratitude to all of you for sharing and taking time out of your days to uh, give your perspective on just this experience, and helping to inspire to make this experience the best that it can be for each of us individually and all of us together. All right, with that, good night. I've got some reading to do. Bye now.